Welcome back, folks, for a new episode of Leaked, where I report / give you more information about upcoming contents for World of Tanks. Now, a new tank is also been circulating on the Super Test server, like the T95A. Now, this tank is called the T95E2. So this is a concept tank, or one of the replacement prototypes to replace the M48 patent. So a lot of tanks at this time were being developed by the Americans in order to counter the T55, T54 tanks, and the Americans were having trouble developing a strong tank to improve on the M48 patent. So they were looking at a few models of prototypes, and the T95 medium tanks are being considered, obviously. So basically for this tank, it has a lot of development stages. So initial stages were fitted with a 90mm gun, later stages were fitted with a 105mm, and even later stages were fitted with the M103's 120mm gun. So they're trying to place different guns on different tanks in order to make a more efficient tank to compete or outperform the M48 patent. So even though they tried to fit different turrets as well as different mantlets onto this chassis in order to make a concept tank that's better than the patent, this tank never really outperformed the patent, so it generally was scrapped because it's pretty much the same as the patent. So yeah, it's one of the concepts that got scrapped while trying to develop the M60 patent. So this is one of the few concepts. Now, within the game, there's already a T95E6 version, and that's already leaked a few years ago, like 2 years ago back, but Wargaming never released the tank. So you can actually look up the T95E6 within the Tank Inspector. So if you already look into Tank Inspector, there's a special tank already in the game files, and the model is already made, but it's a pretty old model, and it is the T95E6. Now for this tank, it has a modified turret, a better turret than the standard turret on the T95E1 or E2. Also, this tank is being fitted with a M103's 120mm gun instead of the original design 90mm gun. So this is actually the crew model, or the whole armor is the same obviously, but the turret is different as well as the gun. So you can look at the whole armor on this tank, but this is generally what the T95E2 should look like. So it has a big cupola at the top as well as the turret, and a very sloped frontal armor. So it is a medium tank, obviously. It has 5 road wheels, so that's pretty cool. The T96E1 has 6 road wheels, and that's the main difference. But alright, so it is a generation of prototype medium tanks that Americans are trying to develop to counter the Soviet T54 and T55s. So that's pretty neat. But this idea, or these tank prototypes, never went anywhere because the patent already filled the roles. So yeah, the patent is already reliable design, and Americans are already producing the patent. So yeah, this tank was scrapped obviously because it has no other advantages over the patent. So this idea was scrapped. And here are the in-game models for the T95E2. Now, as you can see, it's pretty much the same turret as the M48 patent. So it has a very squarish mantlet next to a very rounded turret armor. Hull armor is pretty much the same as the T95E6 model within Tank Inspector, so we can look that up soon. But this picture is of the T95E1 version, I think, with different mantlets. So an improved mantlet that's copied from the M48 patent is placed, and it shows on the E2 version. But yeah, it's a medium tank, so it does have a very big cupola, and it's pretty, you could just easily shoot that thing and it will get penetrated. So that's what I hate about the T110E5, is because of the giant cupola at the top. Whereas I don't have that much of a problem with the T32 or the T29. The cupola on top of those American heavy tanks are pretty easy to hide, whereas this is a pretty goddamn big target. Now, the M48 patent also has a very giant cupola at the top, which also sucks, but we're gonna look that up soon. And here are the in-game stats for the T95E2. Now, this is going to be a Clans War reward. Whoa, tongue twister. But it is like the T93E, whatever the number, E1? Was that it? I don't even remember. So it is like the E3 actually. So it's like this tank. Now this tank was a special reward tank for Clan Wars. So you cannot get this tank in the premium shop. You cannot get it anywhere else other than rewarded by Wargaming. And it's a pretty okay-ish medium tank, obviously. But the T95E2 will possibly be like this tank. So that's gotta be meh, I guess. But it's a free tank, so it doesn't have an E2 version, obviously. But it's gonna be like the T93E3 version. That's gonna blow. Alright. Hit points wise, it has the same hit points as the IS3, so it has a very good chunky amount of health as hit points. Weight is about 40-ish tons, which is not a lot, but it's at tier 8, so you might as well ram a few light tanks at. A few light tanks, it wouldn't hurt. Engine power is kind of low, 560 horsepower, so horsepower to ton ratio is very bad in my opinion, 14.6. Now this is a pretty sluggish tank. Medium at best, so it's borderline into heavy tank territory because the T32 has very good horsepower to ton ratio, and that's a heavy tank. So let's look at this thing. Yeah, it has almost 14 horsepower per ton ratio as a heavy tank. Whoops, armor calculator, you don't need that. Where is the picture? Alright, this thing has 0.7 more horsepower per ton ratio, and this is a medium tank, so yeah, this is sluggish for a medium tank. Alright, maximum top speed is 56.3 kilometers per hour, which is decent. Reverse is 21 kilometers per hour, which is also decent. Terrain resistance is okay, 0.86 for hard terrain, 1.05 for medium terrain, 1.8 for soft terrain, which is decent. It's not as good as the T95A that we saw yesterday, but it's not bad. It's like all other medium tanks. Now let's look at the Pershing. I want to compare this to the Pershing to see how different these two tanks are. Oh yeah, it has better terrain resistance than the Pershing. Alright, that's decent, but the Pershing has better power to weight ratio because of the better engine. Yeah. Alright. We'll compare it to the Pershing later, obviously, but we're looking at the T95E6. Alright, that sucks. It's a slow tank. Well, alright. Hull traverse is 36 degrees per second. That's kind of bad, in my opinion. 36 is, it's like fast tank destroyer traverse speed. Normal medium tank should have about 45-ish, 40-ish at least, but 36 is kind of slow for hull traverse. Ugh. View range is decent, 390 meters of view range. The Pershing has about 400, or at least 400. Centurion has at least 400 as well, or even 410 meters. So you're kind of lacking on the view range at tier 8 for American tank too. That sucks. Radio range is not given, but it should be about at least 650 meters or plus, somewhere around there. So you won't have crappy radio, hopefully. Hull armor at the front is 95 millimeters sloped. Side is 71 millimeters, but we already saw the side armor, which is pretty crap. At the ass, obviously. And the ass of the tank is 25 millimeters, but we saw that's mostly 19 millimeters. So you have no ass armor as well as side armor on this thing. Hull armor might bounce a few at the front, but don't rely on it. Turret armor at the front is 177.8, which is mostly like a Patton's or the M48 Patton's turret. Side of the turret is 101 millimeters, and the rear is about 50. So armor is nah. The turret armor is decent, but the mantlet is not as good from that picture we saw. So the mantlet might throw a few shots, but if they just punch right through your mantlet because you're at tier 8, so that's gotta suck. Now historically, this tank has multiple guns. The initial prototypes had 90mm gun, the later models had the 105mm, and as you saw with the T95E6 or E5, I don't even know which version it is, but this thing has the 120mm. So this tank has a lot of guns to choose from, but this is a premium tank, so it gets stuck with a 90mm gun. It penetrates only 173mm of armor, which is kind of bad for a medium tank, but it's generally the same as a Pershing, mostly. I think this is high explosive anti-tank or APCR, one of which, but it's not bad for gold shell, 242mm, and high explosive is 45mm. So this is most likely APCR in my opinion. Damage is kind of low, 240 damage per hit. DPM is, yeah, tier 8 medium tanks status, 2100 at best. So alright. Reload time is every 7 seconds or so. Rate of fire is 8.7 seconds, or 8.7 rounds per minute, what am I talking about. Accuracy is decent, 0.34. Aim time is 2 seconds, alright. Gun depression is like the patent, the M48 patents, minus 9 degrees instead of 10 degrees, which, yeah, you might get pissed off sometimes, but not that bad. Elevation is 19 degrees instead of 20 degrees, so 1 less degrees from depression as well as elevation. That's gotta suck, but alright. Ammo is 64 rounds per tank, or per game I guess, but alright. Turret traverse has not been given, but the turret for the M48 patent is about 41.7 degrees per second, so this might have the same turret traverse, but it should be above 35 per se. So, alright. Now I really want to look at the true armor values on this tank, but I don't have the actual model, so I can only use a T95E2 model to compare the hull armor, as well as the M48 patent's turret armor to compare the turret. So we'll look at the hull armor first, but oh my god. Frontal armor is, well, it's better on this tank obviously. Is it? No, it's still 95 slope upwards, so you get about 200mm at the front mostly. So yeah, it's still 95 at the front. Might bounce a few shots to up to 200mm penetration, but don't rely on it. Lower glacis is only 76mm, which, ugh, yeah, it's well sloped, but yeah. Middle upper beak is roughly the same, 130-ish, 140-ish. So yeah, it could easily be penetrated from the front if you get shot at the beak. Now side armor is god awful. Like the, ooh, hold on. Yeah, it's 19 at the ass. Oh my god, it's 19 at the ass. Holy shit. It's 25 at the lower plate on the ass, but it still doesn't matter. So it's 19. High explosive will eat this thing up, obviously. So if you side scrape with this thing, oh god, 50mm pen. It's not automatic ricochet. You could just outmatch this. Yeah, it can easily outmatch. It's not automatic ricochet. Don't be fooled. It's only ricochet if you have like a low caliber gun that's like 70mm gun, but it's going in. It's automatically going in. Don't think that it is ricochet. It's automatic going in. Ugh, side armor is also crap. At best is 102mm at the front, but yeah, armor is crap. Alright, let's look at the turret then on the M48 patent. Now, patent has a very good turret, but it has still the weak spot with the commander cupola, like the T95E2. So this is an obvious weak spot. However, the whoa! I thought this had better mantlet. Whoa! So you might whoa! There are weak spots on the mantlet, obviously, like the viewports. So the picture might be showing us the weak viewports instead of the actual mantlet, but the actual mantlet should bounce a few shots. Ugh, but the turret sides are also bouncy, like 178mm, so you might bounce a few shots aimed at your turret sides, but most people will probably aim at your cupola weak spot and just penetrate. Side of the turret is also pretty crap. So that's about 76mm, which is also crap. Front of the turret is 114, which is also crap at tier 8, obviously. And rear of the turret is 51mm. So the turret is very similar to the T48. I'm messing names up. The M48 patent. So that's gonna blow. The turret is from the M48 patent, mostly from the M48 patent, with the hull armor that's already displayed from the T95E2 version. So yeah, hull armor is crap, turret armor is crap, the gun is okay. It's like a super Pershing, like, without the armor. What? Yeah, it's kind of bad. I'm recording, obviously. It's kind of bad, but here is the Tech Inspector copy of the T95E2. Now, it will cost you about 7,500 gold, but this is a reward tank, so it's not going to be given out for gold, obviously. But if you get duplicates, you get 7,500 gold for it. Penetration is 173 millimeters, which is crap. So let's look at the Super Pershing. I wonder. Super Pershing is known for crappy penetration, obviously, but it has space armor at the front. Yeah. Yep. Oh, it fires faster than Super Pershing, luckily, but it doesn't have the armor of the Super Pershing. Oh, yeah. DPM is kind of low, obviously. Oh, module damage is low. Reload time is low. Accuracy is decent. Aim time is also decent. This is hull traverse, I think. Oh no, power to weight ratio. That's power to weight ratio. It's kind of bad. Hull traverse is 36 degrees per second, which is bad. Top speed is decent. Reverse speed is decent. Resistance is okay. It didn't show us the rest of the stats. It has 1500 health. View range is 390 meters, which is decent. It gets no premium matchmaking. Holy crap. That sucks. Oh, it weighs about 38 tons, 39 tons. Ooh, this is kind of bad. 9 degrees of gun depression, about 19 degrees of gun elevation. All right. Accuracy on the move, yeah, decent, but yeah, this tank is ooh. Well, we might as well compare the Pershing to this tank in order to compare the stats. Now, the Pershing also had the 90mm gun, but it's not the same gun that's used on this tank, obviously. This tank's 90mm gun is the same as the patent stock gun. So if you can look up the patent can use a stock 90mm gun, which is basically the same gun it is used on this tank. Now, the gun characteristics on the patent is obviously different than the T95E2, but the gun's pretty much the same. So let's look at the Pershing, which is pretty much the same concept, 90mm gun, but that's the stats. So the Pershing has 60 less health. Alright, so it has more health on the T95E2. And we can look up the weight. What the hell's the weight? The Pershing weighs heavier. Alright, so the Pershing can ram stuff more reliably. It has a better engine, so it has a better power to weight ratio. That's gotta suck. Alright, maximum top speed is slower on the Pershing. Reverse speed is about the same. Turret resistance is also worse on the Pershing, so even though it has better engine, it has worse terrain resistance. Alright, but let's look at the hull traverse. It's about the same, but the Pershing actually turns better. So 36 degrees of hull traverse is kind of bad. Turret traverse is actually better than Pershing, should be better than Pershing by 3 degrees. It's alright. Gun depression is also better on the Pershing, as well as elevation. Ugh, that sucks. View range is also better on the Pershing by 10 meters. Radio range has not been given, so we cannot compare that. Alright. Gun performance. Now, it's the same 90mm gun, but penetration is actually better on the Pershing by 7 millimeters. Damage is the same. DPM is actually better on the T95E2. Module damage is the same from that picture we saw. Or the other picture, whatever. So 122 module damage is alright. Reload time is actually faster, obviously. Blah blah blah. The rate of fire is also fire. Stop talking fast, think about it. Rate of fire is also fast on the T95E2. Alright. But accuracy is also better on the T95E2, as well as aim time. So alright, so you have better gun characteristics, but worse penetration. How much ammo? You can carry 6 less rounds than the Pershing. Ugh. So this thing, let's look at how much armor the Pershing have, because I never played the Pershing. So Pershing has 143mm of frontal hull armor at the upper plate. Machine gun port is 77mm. Lower plate is 143 millimeters, so well sloped frontal armor. Now you do get up to 200 millimeters of frontal armor on the T95E3 or E2. God. But it's only on the upper plate, it's not on the lower glazes obviously, or the beak. So you might have better hull armor on this thing. But let's look at the turret. Now, the Pershing can still throw shots with a good matlet it has, and it has a very small cupola. So when you're going hull down with the Pershing, you cannot even aim at the cupola, so you can only aim at the side of the cheeks. Now side of the cheeks is pretty weak, 76 millimeters, which roughly about 120 millimeters on the Pershing, whereas on this tank is very good, about 250 millimeters of effective side armor on the turret, but you have a very big cupola, as well as the matlet is kind of weak, but that might be just aimed at the viewport, so I still need confirmation on the matlet, but it should have a very good turret armor at the front. So this thing might have a better hull down attack to extend the Pershing. So yeah, in my honest opinion about this tank is that if it's a clan, it's confirmed as a Clan Wars reward. So I'm not getting this thing obviously, but for those who already play Clan Wars, this tank, it feels a lot like a Pershing with better turret armor. Now that comes at a price because you have a very big cupola at the top. So that's gonna be suck. But this tank is very slow also. Power to weight ratio is low for a medium tank. The T32 almost catches up to this thing in power to weight ratio. And that thing is a heavy tank with very good frontal turret armor, 298 millimeters. And that thing has a small cupola as well as a 105 millimeter gun. So yeah, penetration is also low. Ugh. Damage is kind of low. DPM is alright for a tier 8 medium tank. I don't see the appeal of this thing. I would not play this thing unless this thing makes a lot of money. But yeah, it doesn't appeal to me like the T55A. Because the T55A has very good frontal armor, the same as the WZ120 at the same tier. The gun's also punchy if you choose to use premium rounds, as well as the same gun characteristics for the gun that's the same on the T54. So comparison wise, the gun's not bad, the engine's not bad, as well as the traction between the T55A and the T54 in comparison. But this tank, it's like trading the turret armor for more turret armor, but you have a bigger weak spot, and the gun's less reliable than the Pershing, even though the Pershing gun is also unreliable. Ugh. So in my opinion, it's a free tank. It has a lot of health, but yeah, it's not as fast, and the gun's not as punchy. So it's a super Pershing without the armor. It's like the super Pershing if you remove the space armor and add a giant cupola at the top. But that's pretty much I'm getting out of it. Ugh. But I have nothing else. It feels slow. Based on the stats, it feels slow. As well as the gun doesn't feel as penetrating at tier 8. And this thing doesn't get premium matchmaking, so it will see tier 10s. And T62As and those E50Ms or eat this thing up. So easy. Ugh. But yeah, turret armor is alright. That's the only good parts of being this tank. The rest of this tank is kind of blows. But that, I have nothing else to say about the T95E2. And nothing else. Unless you carry like a 105mm gun. That's the only thing I can ask for this thing. Now, they're not giving this 105mm gun, so that's gonna suck. But final decision, it's alright of a premium tank, I guess. If it has like superb money making capabilities, I guess that's worth it. But it's a Clan Wars reward, so I'm not getting it. But ooh, it feels sluggish to me. Now the Super Pershing has about 10 horsepower to 10 ratio, I think. So let's look at the Super Pershing. But that thing is slow. Yep. So this thing is 50% better than the Super Pershing in terms of mobility, but the T32 has almost the same horsepower to 10 ratio. Oh, so this thing, oh man, it's kind of slow. It's kind of slow for a medium tank. So you can also not really snipe with it. 0.34 accuracy is alright, but it's not superb accuracy like 0.30 or 0.31 that's on the Centurion. That's why the Centurion is so good of a tank in my opinion. Even though it has crappy hull armor, the accuracy on the gun is very good, 0.31, 0.6, as well as the penetration, even though the DPM is kind of crap, but it has 226 millimeters of penetration, superb over the 173 millimeters. So this tank feels alright, I guess. The turret armor is the saving point or the best part of this tank, but hull armor is crap at the rear, okay-ish at the front, very big cupola, crappy gun, very slow, decent terrain resistance. Turret traverse is the slow, or hull traverse is slow. Turret traverse is alright. Yeah, that's my opinion on it. That's my opinion. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I have nothing else to say. I feel disappointed from the video. Just like depressed. But thank you guys for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed this leak video. Subscribe to my channel for more of these leak info videos, which I talk about upcoming contents for the tanks. But leave a comment below what you think about the T95E2. And in my opinion, this is of a tank. So meh, grunts. But yeah, pretty much. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.